From an unbelievable landslide in Pakistan destroying everything in its path, and a floating house in Yellowstone National Park colliding with a bridge, to the terrifying moment a powerful tidal wave crashes into land, and much more. Here are 5 of the scariest flood moments caught on camera. Number 5. The Sumatra River in Indonesia is home to a natural phenomenon that the locals call Bono. Bono is a tidal bore, an event that occurs in places that have a large difference between high tide and low tide levels. The edge of the incoming tide forms waves of water that travels up a river against the current. A tidal bore is often confused with a tsunami, but it's a different kind of wave with a different cause. It can be one big wave or a series of smaller waves. Bono can be very dangerous, but it is quite an impressive sight. This explains why hundreds of people gathered at Sumatra River on April 17, 2019, and didn't move an inch after seeing the tidal bore racing towards them. Tidal bores like these are notorious for sinking huge ships during the rainy season. The waves can reach up to 20 feet high and travel at a speed of up to 40 kilometers an hour. Believe it or not, people do more than just gather to watch the waves. Bono is also popular for surfing. When a tidal bore takes the form of one big wave, it can be risky for ships, but perfect for surfers. Of course, rescue boats often accompany the surfers because the Sumatra River is home to many crocodiles as well as the incredible tidal bore. Number 4. The country of Pakistan is no stranger to natural disasters and climate change. Events like drought, flooding, typhoons, and earthquakes are commonplace. They regularly sweep through the South Asian country, leading to losses in the billions of dollars. However, residents have learned to remain calm amid the storm, like the brave person who filmed this terrifying flood and landslide in Chitral, Pakistan on January 29, 2023. You can hear the water roar angrily and echo around the valley.
А я по тарихай.
A little while later, a second burst of water came rushing down the mountain. After the flood, the landscape below looked completely different. What was once a bunch of trees was now a muddy wasteland. On top of that, the debris flow further blocked the canal downstream, worsening the effects of the flooding. Recently, Chitral had been hit hard by more frequent monsoon rains and by increased glacial melt. Number 3. In 2022, about 2,000 people died in flash floods across Africa and parts of Saudi Arabia, UAE, Oman, Qatar, and Yemen. Flash floods are incredibly dangerous because of their sudden onset, speed, and destructiveness. During a flash flood, low-lying areas fill with water rapidly, usually because of a heavy downpour. In Oman, on October 11, 2022, there was enough advance notice of the incoming flood for spectators to head down to the dry riverbed with their cameras. They didn't have to wait long. Did you see that palm tree being tossed around by the water? Those folks in the riverbed got out just in time. In a flash flood, you can get knocked off your feet by just 6 inches of moving water. If you ever find yourself in a situation like this, run to higher ground. No video is worth risking your life. Number 2. I'm sure most of us have heard the warning not to drive through flooded roads after a storm. Floodwaters can damage cars and cause loss of control. In extreme examples, your car can even get carried away. Even just a foot of water is enough to float many cars. It's hard to tell how deep floodwaters are, and large rocks or potholes might lurk beneath the murky water. Sometimes, though, it can't be helped, and you have to drive on a flooded road to get to safety.
Don't stop, buddy. Jeez. Oh my God.
If you were in Hawaii on March 11, 2021, you would have no choice but to drive on flooded roads. One driver filmed the moment vehicles struggled to pass through the submerged roads as more rain falls. You can see several vehicles moving slowly while hoping they make it through safely. As you can guess, not all the vehicles made it out of the water. You can tell the person behind the camera had fun filming his experience. Or did he? What do you think? Number 1. This has to be the most heartbreaking clip on this list, and you'll soon see why. This catastrophe occurred on the Yellowstone River in Montana. In mid-2022, the area experienced an unusually wet spring. The rain, along with warm temperatures, melted a huge amount of snowpack all at once. The result was massive flooding and mudslides. The flood was so bad that many residents along the Yellowstone River were forced out of their homes. This homeowner was convinced he didn't need to leave, but finally, he had to face reality. On June 14th of 2022, he had to grab what he could from the house and stand by helplessly watching it collapse into the river. With the house sailing along like a ship, the swollen river carried the house for over 7 miles, finally hitting a bridge.
Yeah, okay.
The floating house had gathered a crowd of onlookers by the time it hit the bridge. What an unsettling sight it must have been. You have to wonder if the homeowner followed the house all the way to the bridge or not. People who live around rivers know that flooding is a possibility, but everyone hopes it won't happen to them. The flood damage these homeowners are dealing with is definitely on the extreme side. At least 200 houses flooded, and nearby Yellowstone National Park had to close until the damage could be fixed. Well, that's all we have for today. If you have a clip you want to see featured on the channel, you can send in your submissions to the link down below, or go to submit.monthlyfails.tv. Otherwise, click the link on screen now to see more videos just like this. And with that, we will catch you in the next one.